this is, I don't know, episode 5 or 6 that I've done.
If you're asking me, I don't
no.
know. I don't know. I mean, I'll go. You just say whatever. I got your back. Yep.
I'm sitting here trying
Episode
to
5
think.
or 6 that Sean has done.
I think so. It's Audible Thoughts. That's the name of it for whatever reason. That's what I named it. Today is my good buddy Chase Bass. Say hey, Chase.
Hey, like every time I do one of these, it's set up different.
Yeah.
And I'm used to like talking to the person, and sometimes they have it set up to where it like has a camera like over their shoulder and back and forth. So, well, I'm not an idiot. If you see me looking away from the camera the whole time, it's just because Sean is over there.
Right. Well, you're gonna see me. I'll look. There's a screen over here that they can't see, and then
that's what I'm trying to like learn to do. I'm like I'm looking at him, but I'm still like kind of looking at the camera.
And I've just got a one camera setup. Eventually, I'll probably do a multiple camera. I'd like to have one in the middle, and then one over here that's facing me, and then one that's facing you. And then editing, I can cut it and chop it and just put it on whoever's talking. But man, just being a one man setup, it's
you got to do what you got to do. When you get all the cameras, and I'll be like a cat watching a tennis match with my ADHD,
right?
Like going like this the whole time, trying to make sure. Oh, you got a view. You got a view. You got a view. You got a view.
Gosh, man, there's a lot that we need to talk about, or a lot we can talk about.
Yeah, I mean, at some point, you just probably have to say, Chase, shut up. We got to go.
Yeah, well, I've got a timer right here, so
that's good.
I can cut your mic off.
There you go. People do that sometimes.
Have you ever? Sounds like talking about drugs, but have you ever tried smelling salts?
So you made the little joke earlier where you
I was gonna get some.
You were gonna get some and surprise me. So funny story. I was in Ohio and went to a Parker McCullum show, and we went and hung out with Parker on the bus afterwards, and he had like this little, like a little like coffee can is what it looked like, and he was like, smell this, tell me what it smells like.
No.
And he's like, we've been arguing over it, so it's like a debate, is what he makes it sound like between him and like his tour manager and stuff. So, I'm sitting here and I'm like, I'm gonna know what it smells like. Like I'm about to settle this debate. So I pop it open, and it's I go all in. Like the show's over, so I mean I've had a few hydrating beverages, so I'm ready to go. So I just grab the can and I don't even like peek. It's just like top off, and I couldn't breathe for like 15 seconds. Like it took my breath. I could see noises and smell colors. I heard that. And my eyes, like they took like a picture and like showed it to me, and then I made them erase it so it never made its way to social media. Right. But like they were wide open. And like in my throat, like I could feel it. It's like I could smell it in my throat. That didn't even make sense, but whatever.
That's pretty strong.
It was strong. For 2 or 3 days, my sinuses were so open.
You could smell everything.
Yeah, and he was like, dude, I didn't think you were gonna like pop the lid off, and like I thought you were just gonna like crack it. And I was like,
you gotta go all in.
It was like, yeah, if you'd have done that before the show, when I had a lot more logic like running around in my head, and I'd have been like, all right, let me just get a little whiff, and then I'll go in for more. But no, I put my head in the can, and when I came out, I was in a different reality for a little while.
Yeah. Well, I stopped by Walgreens because they have them, but I couldn't find them, and nobody there knew where they were. So maybe they didn't. I don't know. Yeah. But I was gonna grab some and just pull them out and be like, "Hey,
kids, don't go buy smelling salts from Walgreens and start."
They don't have them.
They
just don't have
discontinued.
Them. Yeah. So, well, we don't get to do smelling salts. That's all right. TikTok,
yeah, end of the world.
Yeah.
It's worse than Y2K shut down. Like people were saying that like there were stores that were out of like bread and milk and water because of the snow, and I said, no, it's probably because TikTok.
Yeah, because now they shutting down. And what are all these people going to do without being able to save their recipes and stuff? Which I use it for a lot of cooking stuff. I got on mine, and I was just starting to gain traction, but it's not. It wasn't that big of a deal to me. I know there's a lot of businesses, man, and there's a lot of individuals that make a living off TikTok, and I hate it for them. Which it's now back up, so it was only down for 12 hours, 15 hours maybe.
And it's back up, and apparently they got some kind of extension, but there's like certain features that may not be fully available. But you know, I don't. It's like it's fun to get on social media, and I just look at the people going back and forth.
Yep.
You know, because they'll be like your guy that's got like a 40-hour hard labor like work week. That's what they've done. That's what they've always done. And then they'll get on Facebook and be like, all you non-talented, you know, people that are losing to TikTok. Well, guess what? Indeed and Monster, those apps still work.
I saw that. I did see that.
And they're like, time to go get a real job. And it's like, you know, I got buddies that they bust their tails and they sweat with what they do. They're in the elements, and my hat is off to them, and they're good at it, and they make a really good living at it. But like there's also other ways to make a living. Like, you know, some of the stuff I see on there, I'm just like, why is this a thing? Mm-hmm. But whatever, it is a thing, and somebody created a way to generate revenue off of it, and I'm happy for them. You know, more power to you. But it's just like, you know, I mean, look at what an actor makes. They make a ton of money
by performing
and entertaining, and there's a lot that goes into it. You know, it's a little bit more in depth, obviously, than somebody gets on TikTok and just does a viral trend and dances for a minute, says something stupid, and people, you know, find it humorous. Yeah. But you know, here's my thing: the economy, the world, and everything that we live in. If you can generate revenue, and you can find a niche you can get into, and it can help you pay your bills, it can help you support your family, it can help you, you know, prosper and be successful in life, go get it.
Absolutely.
Like more power to you. You know, I mean, I'm always trying to like find ways to generate revenue. I know you are like a man of many talents. You don't just decide one thing's going to pay my bills.
No, I've got a family to support, and you know, with the app or anything you do in life, as long as you're not harming somebody else.
Yeah.
And, you know, I don't go out and look for ways to take food out of somebody else's mouth.
Yeah.
You know, I go out and try to find my own path and my own way. And, you know, TikTok is one of those ways. YouTube is a way. Instagram, like social media, the world that we live in now is so social media driven.
Yeah.
And as long as it's done, you know, legally, morally, ethically, in the right way, it's not a bad thing. You're going to have those people that are just bad people, and they're going to find a way to make anything they do negative or dangerous or just downright bad. And
they did that before social media.
They did, absolutely.
They're I mean, cults. You know, you had people that didn't have access to social media at all, but they could gather hundreds to follow a cause and brainwash them into doing immoral things and have them believing that it was the right thing to do, and they never made a post.
Nope,
they didn't have a TikTok reel.
It's a tool. Yeah. It's just like anything else. Like it is a tool.
It can be used by the person who has it in their hand, however they choose to. Yep. And you know, thankfully, most of it's beneficial. Some of it's going to be negative. Yep. But you know, there's this really cool thing where if you see something you don't like, I do it often. I block, or I skip, or I remove it from a suggestion. But some people can't do that. They see something that they don't like, and then they let it engulf them to go every day and check what it is they don't like, so they can get engulfed in debating it or attacking it or, you know, having something to say, and they let it make them miserable to the point they hate the person, they hate the app, they hate everything about it, but they go back every day.
Yeah. Well, and listen, everybody's got their own opinion. I'm not going to hate on anybody for the way they feel about it. I would never get into an argument with anybody. All right, that's enough about TikTok. So we're in South Alabama. We're an hour and a half from the beach. We have summers that are 743 degrees.
In the shade.
900%
at night. Humidity.
Yeah. During the winter, you know, we have cold days. I mean, it's highs.
It's like cold snaps. That's what I always heard. We had a cold snap. Let's wrap the pipes. Let's leave the water dripping. You know, I'm going to go out. The worst thing was I was going to go outside and be playing and like have to go back inside and be like, well, I can't feel my fingertips.
Yeah.
My ears, you know, my heart beats in them.
Yeah.
You know, but it was never like I went outside and was like, man, we gotta plow the driveway so we can get the snow out of the way. Or
never thought about that.
Yeah.
And now, all of a sudden, well, I wouldn't say all of a sudden, in our lifetime, we are potentially going to have the most snowfall that I have ever seen here.
Yeah.
Since I've been alive in like 3 days. And the crazy thing is, like, everybody's not freaking out like I thought they would.
Yeah, well, there's also like this false thing. Like I see a lot of people. Like I remember when we had some snow in Dothan back. It was like around 2010, 2011, something like that. And in everybody's mind, they're like, "Oh, well, you remember that time it snowed like 7 inches to 10 inches." Well, if you really go back and look, it was like an inch.
Yeah, man, it was maybe 2.
But in our minds, because we never see it,
don't get snow.
The fact that it actually accumulated and was sitting on top of the grass, everybody was like, it's the end of the world.
Yeah.
There's so much snow.
Well, now they're talking like up 2 to 5 inches.
Yeah.
That's
what was it? Just the other day, I was looking at one of the apps, and every weather app tells you something different. I got 20 of them on my phone because of like being in the music industry and stuff.
Yeah.
But, you know, and one of them was like 7 to 9 inches on Tuesday, and then 3 to 5 inches on a Wednesday. So me being me, I screenshot the one that, you know, for Tuesday that's the most, and I put a post on Facebook and, you know, talk about the fact that and then Wednesday it's supposed to be 3 to 5, and in my normal way I'm like, if it snows 7 inches in Tuesday, Wednesday put together, I will put on a bathing suit, wear goggles, go out and do a snow angel and scream high tide.
I've got a drone. If you do it, I want to video it from the air.
You just made this an even bigger deal.
Absolutely. And everybody's going to hear it.
Oh, and everybody is already, like, people were, like, coming to it, and they were, like, praying for snow. They were like, well, you know, what if it's 7 inches between Dothan, this place in Georgia? And I'm like, calm down. Like, I'm not putting myself at any more disadvantage. I've already opened my mouth. You know, people were like, we screenshotted this. But
that's what I'm looking at the radar, or the forecast here. Tuesday, the high is 38. The low is 19. Snow becomes likely, especially by afternoon. Accumulations are likely, especially from Montgomery southward. Typically, when Alabama gets snow, it's like, north of the I-10, north of, you know,
Montgomery, Huntsville,
Birmingham, they always get the fun stuff.
This line, this band, like when you look at it, what's crazy to me is Dothan right now, I think the last time I looked at it was like around 3 inches.
Yeah.
Like the area of New Orleans and Mobile is like 4 to 6 inches. And that's literally like Bay Area, like water within 8 miles, 10 miles. So it's a weird, it's just like when we get a squall line. I say that word. We hear that all the time. I don't exactly know what it means. I just know there's a lot of bad stuff in it. So we get like a squall line of thunderstorms.
Yeah, it's just
kind of
like
how they trail through
and
come through the southeast. There's like a line just like that for the snow, to where it's like more southern is a higher chance of snow and accumulation. And then as you go a little bit north in Alabama, then it drops to like 1 inch or less.
Yeah.
And then as you get further north, then it kind of starts to build a little bit more.
Mountains and stuff like that. Well, I mean, the beach, they're talking Panama City and Destin and all this, like getting snow.
Yeah.
It's just strange. You know,
it's weird.
We go to the beach to escape the cold.
Yeah. No, I saw somebody the other day that, like, you know, you can click on like Mike's weather page or like, you know, different things. I watch Mike's weather page, you know, pretty good bit. He's normally funny with stuff and it keeps people very up to date. Yep. But like I see all these people, and like I moved from Wisconsin to South Alabama to get away from snow, and now I'm gonna get snow.
Yeah.
But they were like, but I'm not gonna get like Wisconsin snow.
No, it's not gonna. You're not gonna get a week long. Which we're not. Our infrastructure is not built for ice and stuff like that. Snow, I think, will be fine. It's gonna be when the snow melts, turns to water, and then it's still
start
freezing.
To get the black ice on the road and stuff like that, because everybody's not at home with chains they can put on their tires. No. The city doesn't have a ample supply of salt and salt trucks to put out. There's no snow plows and you know, snow machines that are going to be running around, you know. So I mean, it honestly, like, I mean, you know, in the safety sake of everybody, like when that snow melts and it starts turning to ice, people just stay off the road as much as you can, because you're putting yourself and everybody else at risk.
But they're not going to do it.
No, everybody's going to get out and be like, let's ride around.
That's exactly what
happens. Like when it comes to hurricane season, when it comes to tornado, everybody's like, all right, well, let's go look at the aftermath.
Yep.
And then people get into accidents and stuff like that, or they're in the way of emergency vehicles and things.
Yeah.
You know, I've been one of those people, so I mean, don't think that, you know, I mean, I got to go see, you know.
We're gonna get out, but you know, we have mules. Not the four-legged donkey mule like we have the Kawasaki
probably
mule.
safer if you had a four-legged
probably
donkey.
So, and we live out in the country. We're around a bunch of fields, so when we leave here, I'm gonna go look, see if I can find some of those little plastic sled looking things.
Okay.
And just take the kids out into the field and just pull them around.
What time's this?
I don't know, I'll let you know.
Yeah.
It depends on what time it snows.
Yeah.
Tuesday afternoon, probably Wednesday morning.
Mike could just pull me on the plow in my goggles and a bathing suit, and then I could jump off and do the snow angel.
Yep.
Mom, I'm sorry. I know you saw my post and said that I better not do that, because if I get pneumonia, you're going to spank me. Yeah.
Sorry in advance.
Oops.
Just go ahead and...
Yeah. You also told me to be a man of my word, so, you know.
So now he's conflicted. What does he do? He said he was going to do something.
Yeah. I'm going to do something that you told me to do. It may not be the most recent thing, but I will live up to one or the other. But no, I mean, I'm pumped about it. Like, you know, I mean, we normally have to travel 6 hours north, you know, to get to where we can really enjoy snow.
Yeah. Dude, we went to where'd we go? Maggie Valley, which is, I think, in North Carolina. I'm not 100% sure. Anyway, we went there in January of last year and went skiing. There's a little ski resort up there. And it was an absolute blast. Rented a cabin, took the girls skiing, went and did just a whole bunch of stuff in the mountains. It was fun. And then the day we were set to leave, we got up that morning. It was on a Monday or Tuesday. And the night before, it started snowing. Yeah. We knew it was going to. It wasn't much. We got up the next morning, and, dude, it was just, like, coming down.
Yeah.
It was a lot of snow, and it got to the point that our driveway was so steep and the snow was so thick that my four-wheel drive at the time could not go down the hill.
Yeah.
So I had to call we stayed at Airbnb. I had to call them, and they knew somebody that had a truck with chains and a little salt spreader on the back. So he comes over there, and he's like backing up the driveway. I mean, this is a mountain man.
Yeah.
He's in his F-250 with chains on it, and this dude is backing up this snow-covered driveway, spreading salt.
Right.
And then the salt thing breaks. So we're just kind of like stuck.
Yeah.
So I get in the truck because he went to go get something, and I told my wife and kids they were in the truck. I said, I'm going to pull just a little bit, and then I'm going to kind of hit the brakes. And if I start to slide a little bit, I know I can't make it.
Yeah.
So I pulled a little bit, and I hit the brakes, and we just started sliding. So we just backed up, got out, made a snowman, and then but man, it was amazing just to see the snow. And we finally got down. He came back and cleared it enough, and then we drove probably 1,000 miles that week and got on the way home that night, probably 8 o'clock at night. Got 6 miles from the house. We were in Headland, and coming down 431 and hit a deer, totaled my truck. We've been 1,000 miles, stuck in the snow, in the mountains, 6 miles from the house, hit a deer, totaled my truck.
Well, I read a stat one time that the majority of accidents happen within 10 miles of the home.
Mm-hmm.
I know when I was a kid, I hit 5 deer from when I was...
At one time?
No. I hit 2 at one time.
Golly.
They just like came out of nowhere. One like rolled up the roof and went over. One hit the front, like went off in the ditch. But the 5 deer that I hit, all were within 3 miles of my house. And we lived out in the country. Like, I mean, there was deer everywhere. And I mean, like, that was the big thing is my parents were always like, watch for deer, watch for deer, watch for deer.
That's how it is down here when it's cold.
But yeah, kind of like what you were saying. Like, you saw a real snow event. Like when we go to places like that, we see a real snow event. My brother was in the Air Force and stationed in different places, and we'd always like, go visit and kind of see. So he was stationed in Grand Forks, North Dakota. So we went up there for Christmas one time. So went up there for Christmas, and their infrastructure is built for snow.
Right.
Like we went
to
like a Costco or a Walmart or whatever it is up there. And like in the parking lot, like every one of the light poles had cords at the bottom that came off of them people's vehicles had a thing that had a plug on it to their radiator. So when you turned your vehicle off, you plugged it up so it kept your radiator warm while you were in the store, so it didn't freeze and bust. And then when you got homes, like if you could, for the vehicle that couldn't get in the garage, you had a plug that you would plug it up to. If you had steep driveways, like cars, trucks, things had like special like eye hooks, tow hooks on them, and there would be like a thing like mounted or eye bolted into the wall that you could like hook to the front of your vehicle, so when the ice like really, really got slick, your vehicle wouldn't slide down your driveway.
Nice.
So yeah, and then we came out like Christmas morning. I want to say they'd just gotten like a kitten, and we like opened the door, and the cat like runs out and like jumps and then just disappears
in the snow.
Into the snow. Like the snow was literally probably, I mean, it was several feet of snow. Like the snow plows were out, like making the roads to where you could get down them. It had like a little snow thing that's like you took through the driveway and like blew the snow out of the driveway. So it's visit, cool, great, awesome.
Live in it.
Got the T-shirt, had a great time, but I could not do 2 to 3 months of that every
year. I'm excited for next week, just for a couple days, just because, and I know this is going to sound weird, but back in COVID era in 2020, when we went on this 2-week shutdown where everything shut down, you had to stay at home. I know COVID was bad, but that 2 weeks was not.
Yeah.
Like not. I don't know. It was almost like everybody just kind of took a step back.
It's a reset.
It was.
It was literally a reset, because it wasn't like you took a vacation from work and we call it a reset, because then you got 1,000 other things going on that you got to do. Now I got a vacation plan. I got the itinerary. I got the family. It was like everything's closed.
Yeah.
So
everything, like you stocked up on whatever you needed. And, we grilled just about every day and just stayed at the house. We got to go outside, got off social media, just had to find things to do.
Played some board games with the family. You had to get the dust off the boxes and get out. And you talked about stuff. Yeah, no, I mean, it was like a really good mental reset for a lot of people. And
those are good. Like, you need those, man. Mental health. I know we're jumping all over the place, but that's fine. But mental health, like golly, I saw a quote the other day. I can't remember it. Like if you don't take time, let me just see if I can find it, because I'm going to mess it up. I tried to say it the other day and I messed it up.
Like mental health's more important than physical health.
Absolutely.
At the end of the day, like I saw a thing the other day. Unfortunately, like a guy that was like a huge fitness guy, 30-something years old, took his life.
Yeah.
And he's like 2-point-something million followers, like all these things, in the best physical shape. Like, he's one of those people you look at and go, man, I wish I could get to that point.
Yeah.
But takes his life, because like there's so many ways mental health can be damaged, and it's not always that you're in, like, you have no money, you have no income. Like, there's so many things that can attack mental health. That
and you don't have to be in a bad spot. Like it can just happen.
You just be overwhelmed for whatever reason. Sometimes like success comes with stress. Yeah, they tie in together. The more that you achieve and have going on, the more responsibility, the more people you feel like you can't let down. Some of these people get where they have all these followers. And it's like you get writer's block when you're a writer. Well, maybe you get content block. And
you have to maintain this status once you get to a certain point.
You feel like you're constantly having to achieve. Yeah. And funny thing about all that, or not a funny thing, whatever it will. So like this shirt says Kill Crew.
Mm-hmm.
I saw somebody the other day and they were like, wow, that's a little bit aggressive. Well, the thing behind this brand, and I'm glad you opened it up because I was going to try and explain this at some point so people weren't like, wow, what a crazy shirt. But like Kill Crew, it's like a fitness apparel thing, and the idea behind the Kill Crew is like kill anxiety, kill mental health
kill
issues,
the bad
kill
things.
Suicidal, like thoughts, kill the bad things,
right.
and you can do it through the gym is some people's outlet to where they like get in the gym and they put the the stress and the frustrations and everything like into the weights, and that can be great because then you're helping your mental health as well as you're helping your physical health.
Right.
But yeah, so Kill Crew is like actually a good thing. Like a percentage of all sales go to like supporting mental health and stuff like that. It's not that I'm a bad person and I want to kill things. I'm not in a gang.
No, the quote says, "If you do not make time for your wellness, you will be forced to make time for your illness."
100%.
All day. And man, listen, I've got I've got friends who've had kids and family members that had some mental health issues, and it ended in a bad way. And when it's bad when it happens. It's even worse when it happens to somebody that you're close to, that you care about, and like you see the pain. So it's so important, and I wish, and I don't have the answers. I don't know what they are.
Yeah.
But I wish that, and maybe it's out there, but because I don't deal with these issues on a daily basis, and I'm so blessed because my kids and my family, and I don't know a lot of people personally that have a ton of mental health issues, but you hear about it daily, and I hope that they're always working on different ways to combat these issues and to deal with mental health, because like you said, like you can be perfectly healthy on the outside and it looks like you've got everything going for you. Like you've got all of your crap together, but on the inside it's just a battle.
Yeah, it's total carnage. And that's the scariest part about it, is because there's no physical telltale sign.
You can't look at somebody and see.
People are always like, look for these signs for stroke, look for these signs for this, look for these signs for that. And people with mental health issues they train themselves, and it makes it worse on them, but they train themselves to be able to put on happy face, to be able to conduct themselves in a normal manner when they're around people, and they fight through it. And when you walk away from them, you're like, man, they're doing so great. Things are going awesome. It's so good to see them. Awesome. And then they get home and that shell falls off, that armor falls off that they've put on to get through the public appearance, and things just go to absolute hell for them. And that's when the carnage sets in, and it's like those things that, I mean, there's been plenty of times, like I've known people that were having those issues that I had no idea they were having those issues. And then something terrible happened, and I just sit back, and it makes you just go, man, I wish I would have done something. I wish I would have known something.
But if you don't know, I mean, there's just nothing that, So I hope that, it gets easier. I don't know if you can see it. I don't know if they can see it. I've got to.
Yeah, so is it recording now?
Yeah, we're recording.
So just for clarity, I did not punch Sean during the break, but Sean decided to look out the window in his office that he is very familiar with and forget that there was a wall. So he headbutted the corner of the wall to look out the window.
Not just the wall, the corner.
Yeah. He got the hard part. And I was like, oh, great. I was like, now we're going to get back, and you're going to have a knot, and they're going to be like, man, why'd they jump up and stop? And then,
Chase is abusing me during the break.
And then he came back over, and we were talking, and I was like, oh, man. He was like, what? I was like, you really do have a knot coming up. And he was like looking, and he was like, wait a second, I see it.
I can see it out the corner of my eye.
So
that's weird. All right, whatever.
Nothing aggressive, violent, anything like that took place. We're friends.
We're good. So Chase owns. Is it called a production company?
Yeah, 423 Productions.
Well, that makes sense. It'd be a production company.
Yeah,
that's what it's called. So we'll get into exactly what he does in a minute. Actually, no. Let's go ahead and get into it now. Yeah. Just what exactly do you do?
I'll kind of tell you where it started to where it's at, as far as people always what got you into this? That's the question. So the funny story is when I was a kid, because I have people all the time, they're like, man, can you sing? You look like you'd be able to sing. And I'm like, I don't really know how somebody looks like they would be able to sing. But, when I was a kid, I could sing. I had a really good voice, and I could sing. I sang in the church choir. I sang in the school choir, or whatever that was called, chorus, whatever it's called. So I sang a lot. I did solos on Sundays, solos at the church Christmas cantata, all that kind of stuff. And
I can't picture that.
Yeah, no, everybody, they're just like, really? Yeah, well, yeah, I was that kid. I was in my little green turtleneck and red sweater vest, and singing the hymns. I was belting out jingle bells and stuff,
with the Jordache blue jeans,
yeah,
and stonewashed.
Duckhead. Speaking of that, Duckhead is back, and when I say it's back, my son the other day was like, "Dad, will you get me a couple pair of khaki pants?" And I was like, yeah. I was like, specific kind? He was like, Duckhead. And I was like, what?
How do you even know what?
He was like, yeah, he was like, Duckhead. I was like, bro, I will get you 6 pair of Duckheads. Because, like, used to, we'd go to Vanity Fair, like, me and my parents, and, I'd load up on some Bugle Boy and some Duckhead.
Oh, Bugle Boy.
You could get, like, 5 pair of Duckhead khaki shorts for, like, $60 for all 5 pair or something. So I was like, day and age, inflation, whatever. I was like, Duckheads are probably gonna run me like, $30 a piece.
I bet they're not.
They were $119.
See, man, that's taking advantage of folks.
But it's like you saw Champion do it with their brand.
Yeah,
Stanley with their brand. It's like things have just like made this cycle, and they came back. And when they came back, they were like, we're just gonna charge a lot more. And people are going to perceive it as it's worth it.
Yeah.
And it's working.
Capitalism,
for a ton
good for him.
Yeah.
I'm not mad at him.
Yeah, great.
I wish I could
great
do it.
for them. He didn't get 5 pair, but great for him.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. Like I got 2 pair of them, and they're actually like probably some of my favorite, like most comfortable pants now. I won't have a bunch of them, but I do, and I do enjoy the ones that I have.
Yeah.
So Duckhead sponsorship, you see what we're doing here. At least give me a discount.
Dude, I will if they will send me some clothes, I will wear a Duckhead sweater. Send me a hat.
They could send me the worst selling item and say, if you'll wear this, we'll throw you 2 pair of khaki pants.
It's just what is it, nostalgic?
Yeah,
I remember Duckhead.
I feel like that's the word. Like I literally saw a commercial, like because you know how it is. If you click on anything on social media, it feeds it to you from that point forward. If you talk about it, my phone's listening, your phone's listening. We're both getting Duckhead ads sent to us when we walk out of here. But
what if I pull up Facebook and see Duckhead?
Probably won't take long. You scroll for a minute, but yeah. So it's like Duckhead celebrating their 160th year anniversary. And I think they decided to charge $1 for every year they've been in business for their pants. But yeah, so it's a rabbit down the hole. We got off track. I'll work my way back to the singing thing. So yeah, was a kid, could sing, voice of an angel. That's what my parents said. They're going to tell you that no matter. But our choir director, Miss Ellen, amazing lady. She's going on to heaven, but. She was our choir director. She was a pianist. She won like Miss Senior Georgia, like as a piano player and stuff, like several times. So she would always like prep me. They lived right down the road from us, like on a dirt road. I'd ride my dirt bike down there and go to practice for like singing lessons and stuff like that. Well, puberty started like coming into play, and I was down there, for a lesson. And like she kept going back through like one part of a song, and I thought she was just like getting me to like perfect it, And she's playing the piano, and then she just kind of like she stops, and she looks at me, and she goes, "Baby, we're gonna try something different." And I was like, let's go. Well, I'm hyped up. I'm like, there's this new cool thing that I'm about to do. And she was like, so how your dad and them sing in the back of the choir?
Let you go move you to the back.
And I was like, yeah. And she was like, we're gonna put you back there. And I was like, okay. I was like, so I'm gonna start in the back, and then I'm gonna make my way to the front for my solos, And she was like, no, we're gonna keep you back there. And I was like, okay. I was like, there's lights in the back, so we'll dim everything, and there'll be like a light that pops on above me, and I'll do my solo. And she could tell that like I had no comprehension of where this was going on. So she did the thing that an adult or someone that cares about you did, and she put her hand like kind of on my shoulder and to my neck and like rubbed my back a little bit.
You knew it was coming then.
And when she did that, I was like, something bad's about to happen. And she goes, look, baby, she said, you have been a great part of this choir, and you have been involved, and you filled a lot of hearts with joy on Sundays and all this stuff. And I'm just looking at her, I'm like, go ahead and get to it. I know what something's coming. She said, but you're at a time in your life where your voice is doing some things. It's changing, it's adapting, and until that gets figured out, we're going to keep you in the back with your dad and them. We're going to let some of the other people, that have already gotten through all that. My mom still has a beautiful voice. She sang all the time in the choir, and did solos at church on Sundays and stuff. But so I had to let Mom get some more of the spotlight and kind of take a step back. But so
thanks for doing that, Chase.
Yeah,
that's very noble of you.
It was hard decision, but
you gotta do what's
I'm
best.
A team player.
Absolutely.
I'm a team player.
Absolutely.
Well, the voice thing never figured itself out for me to go back to the front. I was not Justin Bieber. I was not able to just be the guy with the voice no matter what, where there was never any break. And, the singing career ended that Thursday afternoon on a dirt road in front of a piano in Miss Ellen's house.
Do we need to have a moment of silence?
All right, I'm good. And so I came to terms with that, and I continued to be in the choir in the back with the men, away from the view of the public, and no lights,
no mic, right?
Mic, yeah. We had like one that like hung above us.
Yeah.
There were none like right in front of us. So yeah, that part of scene was over. So but I always had like an infatuation with music, like always, like loved listening to music, and enjoyed like when I'd be out with my parents and like see live music going on. And then I went through like long phases in life where you like figure out what it is you're gonna do, and like got into sales, and did sales coming out of school and stuff like that, and still do that because I enjoy like getting out, talking to people, meeting people and stuff. But I gradually, when I worked with Adams Beverages here out of Dothan, I was kind of like a special events coordinator as well as a sales manager, and events were popping up, related to concerts and stuff. So I started kind of getting back into that a little bit and being more involved with that. And then we had Bama Jam and Enterprise, and I was the head of it for like the Budweiser, Bud Light, Adams Beverages side of things. So I got engulfed in like seeing that event like form and take place, and just like run myself to death, like handling just more so the beverage side of it, But I saw all the other moving pieces,
which is a big part of a concert.
Huge. Yeah, I mean it's everybody thinks you just make money hand over fist when you do shows. You do not. It is not. Otherwise, we would all be doing it.
Right.
That's the way it is with anything.
Yeah.
So I started like just getting that itch of like wanting to be more involved. I was good enough at my aspect of it, my lane that I was in for Adams Beverages, that they started asking me to be more involved in the Bama Jam side of it. So, I started getting more involvement, like helping them outside of my day to day with Adams, and just like it just. I kept feeling more of a pull in that direction. Mark Sheldon, Randy Lovelady, went to Panama City Beach, and Dave Trepania, helped them get the opportunity to like start Gulf Coast Jam, and those three created that event, and then I was one of the calls where they were like, hey, we want you involved from the start, and my kind of initial role was more so in like the beverage control side of it, because I did so good with it at Bama Jam that they wanted me to play a big role in kind of helping manage the bars and all that kind of stuff. That started in 2013, so we're going into 11, 12 years of that event now.
And I got to photograph that one. I think it was 2019. It was when Kid Rock, Tim McGraw, Jason Aldean actually got sick.
Yep.
So he did not get to perform the last night, but that was it was a really good time for me.
Yeah, I mean, so you got to see a little bit more of like what goes on and what goes into big things like that.
A little bit.
And it's a lot.
It is.
Like it's a year-round process. Like we're always planning, always discussions, meetings, marketing, everything. But so like I got way more like knowledge, and I just tried to be a sponge and soak stuff up, and just, when I would be walking the site, like, why is this here? Here's why. Why is that there? Here's why. What does this do to help improve? And you're constantly like learning from mistakes, or see weaknesses and improving on them, and you try to do that in any aspect of your life.
Yep.
It's a good thing to put into place no matter what. But 2019, I'd been talking with my brother Thomas. He lives in Las Vegas right now, retired from the Air Force. He does financial advising. He's really good at it. So if y'all need a financial advisor, he's your guy. Shout out Thomas. So he had more capital at the time, and like knew there was some opportunity, saw my potential. So we got together, pooled our resources, and started 423 Productions. 423 is my son's birthday, JW, April 23rd. So that's where that came from. It actually has some meaning behind it. And I get the business license in October of 2019. Put together the first show to take place at the plant in March of 2020. So like all the emotion, all the like, let's go, like here it is. And then all of a sudden you're sitting in front of the TV,
COVID,
and you see COVID-19 or whatever like pop up. And you're like, what's that? Well, I found out what that was pretty quick, because it was like, ticket sales, were like starting out good, and then they just stopped, because, no matter what your viewpoint on COVID is now, in the beginning, when there was so much unknown, everybody was like, what's happening? Like there was, even if you don't want to call it fear because your pride won't let you, but there was uncertainty. Like you were questioning what's about to happen. Like, how is this going to affect people? All you're seeing is like these stats of deaths, like people, heads in beds at hospitals. Like hospitals are overrun. They're putting up tents outside to create, more room to treat people.
And we had never dealt with it. We had no idea. And all we can do is listen to the people that are a lot smarter than us and hope that they're right.
And then what the media says. Like and we all know how that goes. But in that situation, you have absolutely nothing else to go off of. So you can Google, looking at the CDC's websites, and you're going to get what you get from that. And it's all like morbid death, fatalities, all this stuff. And then you're looking at what, is being put out there on social media and through, the different news resources and stuff like that. So like countries start shutting down. We were able to have the show, but our capacity got limited. And we didn't even hit the limited capacity because people were in fear.
Didn't want to go out and be around a bunch of people.
Well, it wasn't so much maybe if you were like, I'm healthy, I'm going to be fine, I'm not scared of this, but you still were like, but my parents or my whoever.
I can't take it back to somebody that might not be.
I can't put myself at risk, because then I'm putting them at risk. So it was a loss. The first year in business was tough. A lot of money put into it. You know how it is when you get ready to start a business: the licensing, the insurance, the fees for this, the fee for that.
That are a lot of, going back to the unknowns. You have no idea what it entails to start a business.
Yeah, I mean, everybody just thinks that like you woke up one day and like went and made a bunch of money.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't work that way.
No.
So we took it on the chin pretty hard that first year, and like even going into 2021, it was like a slow opening, letting people get back together, and there were capacity like regulations, and there was even like this, you can only be with your group in this area, and there has to be space,
6 foot, and
so
all
like
stuff.
you like shows were trying to like create pods for people to be in, and like all these different things. But anyway, the kid in the choir went from singing solos to being told to shut up and stay in the back to kind of getting his passion for music reinvigorated through Bama Jam, Gulf Coast Jam, and then getting the wild idea and having the support of my brother to like want to get this business started. And it just instead of kind of just folding up and giving in to, man, it was good shot, bad timing, it's over. I dug into like networking and trying to keep as many conversations going as possible, and build relationships. And like, get to know artists that I could get to know. Me and PG did like a couple little like virtual concerts and things like that, just to be relevant, just to keep the name out there
in front of
and
people.
not let everything go stagnant.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, and so I think in either the end of 2020 or beginning of 2021 is when I started shooting some of the concerts for you. So I've always loved music. Obviously, I'm a photographer, so it went hand in hand.
Yeah.
Plus I got to go backstage and do the meet and greet photos and meet all these people. And so I got a firsthand view of what, not near as much as you actually doing it, but I got to see a lot of what went on behind the scenes.
All right.
And it's not all just, rainbows and flowers like people think it is. There's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, and there's a lot of arguing. There's a lot of logistics that can't just work themselves out. Like, they have to be, just done, planned out a long time in advance.
There's a ton of communication with a ton of different people, and everybody kind of has their specialty, and to make sure you have all the conversations, make sure you're prepared. It's not just a business in a box that you pull up and you hit the button and everything sprawls out and just jumps into place. You have the show and you just hit the button and the box closes back up and you go to the next place. So and there's a lot of stress. There's a lot of staying up late at night, answering the phone 7 days a week, all times of the day, because a conversation that you've been trying to have, that all of a sudden the opportunity arises and you got to get up and walk out of that dinner with your family.
Yep.
You got to get up and walk out of that lunch, or you got to stop what you're doing because you can't let that conversation get away.
Right. Well, and so that's going to leave. We got about 10 minutes left, but that I want to go into, because I've been to concerts all across the Southeast. I've shot some. I shot Gulf Coast Jam in 2019. Mm-hmm. I've been to Georgia, North Alabama. Let's talk about like the music scene in Dothan.
Man,
and I know it's going to be a loaded question, and 10 minutes is not going to really scratch the surface, but you get to see it more than just about anybody, and because I get to shoot the concerts, like I get to get updates on this, and where's the disconnect? What's going on with the music scene here compared to other places, and why do some people say, we don't have good music here, or we can't get it? What's your take on that?
Well, we're in a better position than we were 6 or 7 years ago. It's starting to try and come back. I mean, I've put a lot of time, effort, and passion and money into trying to help rejuvenate this scene in Dothan. Clay Dempsey and what he's doing with the Dothan Civic Center and the Opera House once it's back up, functional. It's taking a lot of people that are like-minded to force it back into Dothan, but I have taken so many losses in Dothan, where I've succeeded in most everywhere else that I've been, because for whatever reason, like Dothan loves music, but people have like this kind of a mindset of, I love music, but I want exactly who I want, and I want it to be on a Friday or Saturday night. And if you can't do that, then I'm not gonna go.
I'll just stay home.
Here's the quick like synopsis of how we fix this. There's roughly 70 to 75,000 people that live in this Dothan city area. There's more in the overall Houston County area. We flex to around 150, 160,000, on a daily basis from like people that are, traveling in and out for work and things like that. We've got a 1,900 cap venue at the plant. We've got roughly 6,000 cap at Big Creek. We've got the Civic Center that's around 3,200 to 3,500. We've got these venues that we should be able to always be at 75% plus capacity. But people, unless it's who's number one on my playlist or somebody I listen to every day, I'm not going to buy the ticket. I'm not going to get out. We have a lot of artists that come through that are great opportunities for Dothan, but you got to prove yourself.
Yep.
Like, you know, I have to prove myself as a promoter. Venues have to prove themselves as a venue. Cities have to prove themselves as an attraction for artists. You know, we'll have some sellouts here and there, and those are awesome. Those are great. But one sellout or two sellouts a year, and then having 20 shows that are under 50% capacity, that median or that average that works out isn't where artists want to see it at.
They look at the statistics.
Absolutely.
They will look and say, okay, here's Dothan, here's the venues, here's the one we can play at. What are the stats?
What's the average capacity sold?
Right.
You know, and
if it's not where they want it to be so they can make money.
It's all about the visual of it too, the aesthetic of, like, you know, I've had an artist that was selling 2,000 plus tickets at every venue, got lucky enough that we were able to get them in Dothan, and then we did like 700 to 800 tickets. They tell everybody, they talk about it, those stats are available, you know. So then when people look at it, they're like, maybe we shouldn't go there, maybe it puts us in a bad situation, you know. So
it's gonna make us look bad.
We got to get in a position to where we go, we love music, we want to get these artists that we want, our favorite artists, to come to Dothan. But in order to do that, you have to get out and support live music on a regular basis. You have to, instead of just sitting at home, you know, fumbling through what's on Netflix or whatever, get out, buy the ticket, go check it out, give it a chance. Buying that ticket puts you in a position to be able to buy the ticket that you want later on. And guess what? You may hear an artist that you're like, man, I got somebody new I'm adding to my playlist.
That's how you recognize it. So that'll lead me into, they now, since we just talked about that, there's an opportunity coming up in April.
Mm-hmm.
It's called Breakout at Big Creek that you're bringing. And it is a 2-day event with probably the cheapest ticket prices I don't know that I'll say I've ever seen, but for the amount of talent that is coming, and not just the up-and-comers, you know, we're at a time when our music we grew up on is not as relevant as our kids' music.
Right.
And they are the ones that are dictating the amount of people that come to these shows. But the people that are coming to this show, we listen to as well.
Right.
And I listen to it. They're on my playlist, just about every single one of them. There's a couple of them that I found because of that.
Right.
So, what day, when is it in April?
April 4th and 5th.
Okay, April 4th and 5th, called Breakout at Big Creek.
Yeah.
It's at the Big Creek Amphitheater.
Yep.
On 231 South. Who's coming?
So you've got Wyatt Flores and Cameron Marlowe are the two headliners. The budget that Crossing at Big Creek, Ken, Frank, and Will, you know, they came to me. We got together. We created this, you know, this plan, this idea. Both headliners are already outside the budget now. They've exploded that much. Wyatt Flores is just growing at a astronomical rate. You know, Cameron Marlowe is growing at an astronomical rate. Dylan Marlowe is in front of Cameron Marlowe. No, they're not brothers. But you've got Wyatt and Cameron. Friday it's Wyatt, it's Jackson Dean, Giovanni and the Hired Guns, Sadie Bass, and then local guys, Jared Harden that won the Titans of Talent contest out there. Saturday is Cameron Marlowe, Dylan Marlowe, Pecos and the Rooftops, Baker Blankenship, Hannah McFarland, and then local guy Riley Anderson that plays all around this area that's, you know, really starting to get some traction, and he was also in the Titans of Talent as well. For $45 plus tax and fees, you get a ticket to both days to see every act.
How much?
$45.
Okay.
So I got to get people off the couch in Dothan and Houston County to like want to go see this. I'll put it to you like this. You know, this is me like giving you a reality check, Dothan. We've sold tickets to 11 states. Out of the amount of tickets that we've sold, 74, I think right before I came up here, I looked, it was like 74.8% of the tickets we've sold come from outside of Houston County.
For this show?
For this show. Almost 75% of the tickets sold are to people outside of Houston County that want to travel in to see these artists. And we technically should be able to sell this out like that based off of just the people that live in Houston County.
Right. Yeah.
But, You know, instead of them going, man, $45, I get to see 11 artists over both days. The best ticket you can get is a $195 VIP pit ticket or preferred pit
Which
ticket.
Is still cheap.
That puts you like right up at the stage. You know, you got private bars, you got private bathrooms. You know, you a faster entry. It's still cheaper than most festivals that are multi-day festivals GA ticket.
Right.
But these artists that are on this lineup are going to be headlining arenas and amphitheaters, and then go on to headline, you know, major festivals.
Right.
Some of them are already, since we made this announcement, like Wyatt Flores is popping up as, like, you know, you see your headliners. He's popping up on the second line at some major events all across the country, some of the biggest festivals out there.
Well, and it's like we had you brought Megan Maroney to the Peanut Festival.
Yeah.
And between the time she was booked in the Peanut Festival, she won, what was it?
Female New Artist of the Year.
Okay, Jelly Roll. He came to the plant.
He came to the plant and played on like a Wednesday night.
Yeah.
And there was a pretty good, you know, turnout for that. And you look at where Jelly Roll's at right now, but
he's selling out arenas.
We've like my partnership like that I've had with the Peanut Festival that I hope I continue to have.
Mm-hmm.
We've put some pretty good stuff together. The first year that I did it, we brought in Lainey Wilson.
Yep.
And I put it to you like this. What I booked Lainey for leading up to that event, by the time the event took place, she by herself cost more than the entire event's budget by the time she actually played. And now she is a festival headliner of major festivals. She's headlining Gulf Coast Jam
this year.
She's headlined multiple other major festivals. There's not a spot in Dothan I could bring her back to now because of the amount of tickets she sells.
Yeah.
Maybe the Peanut Festival in a one-off event. There's just so much that goes into being able to do that. But you know, and then the next year it was Megan Maroney, and then this past year we had Tucker Wetmore, and Tuck is one of the hottest like artists in country music right now. By the time he performed, he was outside of the budget range. Now, he just got done performing at a Crash My Playa in Cancun, Mexico, as like one of the bigger acts for that event. And he's popping up all over, you know, festivals, selling out tour dates, you know, just like that, nonstop. So, and that's a $10 ticket. It's a $10 ticket to get in the Peanut Festival, and the show is free. If you want to get a reserved seat, it's $20 for a reserved bench seat.
A whole $20.
A whole $20.
And
if you want to just be in a fold out chair or first come first serve, it's $10 additional for a fold out chair to be in that like pit area. You know, there's no reason that every single show that takes place at the Peanut Festival shouldn't have 5,000 plus people in that amphitheater.
They're already out there.
Yeah, you're out there. You have a chance. You got X number of days of overall fare to enjoy. Come down there, spend 2 hours, you know, hear some great music, and then go back, you know, because, I mean, it's things that, you know, they look at like that. We had a really good crowd for Lainey. We broke a Peanut Festival record. We had a great crowd for Megan. We had a great crowd for Tuck. You know, I mean, we've had some good crowds, but at a $10 entry fee, free concert, the numbers should be better overall, you know, and I've been, you know, working with them and you know, we've been trying to generate some ideas to help grow that. But again, like when I'm walking through those crowds and when I'm seeing people commenting on social media and stuff, the bulk of it's from outside of Dothan.
Yeah.
We get our Dothan crowd, but on average, in like I report stuff back to Visit Dothan because they work with me to help bring, you know, people in. Like we average around 22 to 23% of tickets sold for the year through our ticketing platform, Tixer and 423 production shows, are what comes from Dothan or Houston County. The rest comes from outside. So we have people that care enough they want to come into our town, and that's great because we want that revenue.
The economy.
Absolutely. We want that revenue. We want that economy.
But we want our local people to support it.
But if we still have room to sell tickets, they should be the ones that make sure there's not that room.
Right.
If I can sell 70% of the tickets sold to people from outside of Houston County, and we still only end up selling 50 to 60%, of the total capacity. If Houston County was putting the effort into to support the music, love live music, and like be out there for it, we'd be selling it out. And when you start selling out shows for not that exact artist, that's when that exact artist starts going, if so-and-so selling out shows or hitting 70, 80% plus capacity, let's take a look at coming to this town.
Yeah.
It helps us get off of having to look at the Thursday, the Sunday, the Monday, the Tuesday night. Clay and them have been bringing in some amazing acts for the Civic Center. But you see the nights a lot of these things have to fall on, because if I'm an artist and I can play in Birmingham, Tallahassee, Gainesville, Atlanta, if I can hit a major market
on a Friday
and I know for a fact it's selling out no matter what, or I'm going to be at least at 80 or 90%, and I can do an arena or something that's a larger size, it makes my numbers look better. I sell way more merch. There's just so many more positives for them in that situation than taking a risk on giving Dothan the Friday or the Saturday, or giving Dothan the opportunity at all. But if I could be able to go back and say, hey guys, we're averaging 75+% of the capacity being sold in these venues. If that's something, Clay could discuss, that's something we could discuss with the, breakout at Big Creek. It opens the doors and it starts drawing more people. Agents start calling me saying, hey, I want to get somebody in here. Hey, I want to get somebody in here. Dothan is a spot that we can grow artists. We can put them in here, and, maybe they play at Rain and then they come back to the plant. Ideally, that's what we would want to do with a market. That's what you try to do.
Just build it up.
I bring an artist to Rain if possible, and it makes sense, and we try to do a show there. That artist can kind of grow, and maybe they go to the Peanut Festival, and then they come to the plant, and then they go to the Civic Center, and then they go to Big Creek Amphitheater, and they just continue to grow in an area, and that's what makes artists want to play in an area. Their teams, their management, their labels want to put them here. Their agent wants to put them here. We had Zach Top play Rain back in April.
I regret not going.
So many people after the fact have reached out and just been like.
Shaq called me.
Yeah.
And because I think it started at 9:00.
Yeah.
Shaq called me and he's like, hey man, are you coming to shoot this? Are you coming to photograph this for me? I was like, man, I can't. I just got home. I can't. And I to this day, I regret not doing it. For it. Every day.
There was somebody did a TikTok. Whoa, look at TikTok doing stuff. So TikTok, somebody made a TikTok, and it was a real video and Zach performing, and he hit this just absolute shredding moment. Because he was like a bluegrass picker.
Absolutely.
When he was coming up. So a lot of people don't realize
he's been doing it for a long time.
Can play a guitar. He can
better than most.
Better, way better. Probably better than 90%.
Absolutely.
He can do things with the guitar and start picking and stuff, and it's amazing to watch. And that video ended up with over, I think last time I looked, that was 4 million views.
Yeah.
And that was at Rain in Dothan, Alabama. That video created opportunities for Zach. I've talked to his agent, his team. Billy Strings, that is a phenomenal guitar player.
Was he here?
I think he came to the Opera House one time, a few years back. Phenomenal guitar player, and not necessarily country, but phenomenal guitar player. Commented on that video, and next thing you know, Zach's team and his team kind of started going back and forth. They ended up doing a festival together. Both of them got on it, ended up coming out on stage together, and just unleashing a guitar tandem that was just unreal. And it was an opportunity generated by a show in Dothan, Alabama, and TikTok.
Yeah.
So the biggest thing I can say is I hear y'all. I can't. If I go in a restaurant, and then people are like, "When you gonna get Morgan Wallen?" or "When are you gonna get?"
Those days have passed.
And I'm just I was like, there's some that I'm not getting. They're not coming to Dothan.
Yeah.
But there are a lot that we could have the opportunity. We can get that person before they're too big.
That could turn into the Morgan Wallen.
That'll be that person, and you get to tell the story that, man, like Zach Top. If you were one of those 450 people that were there that night, that sold out show, you're already able to tell people, man, I saw him in Dothan, Alabama, because he has exploded. You will see him headlining festivals in 2026.
Yeah. And that's Ty Myers.
Ty Myers.
Dude, 17 years old. We drove to Athens, Georgia.
Yeah.
Just to see him that night.
Right.
Spent the night in Athens, got up the next morning, and came all the way back. And I think the venue that he played at held 350, maybe.
Yeah.
And he sold it out. And now, he's coming to Dothan.
Yeah. And I mean, if that show doesn't sell out,
I don't see how it couldn't.
It's not even my show, but I support live music.
Sure.
Like, I wanted it to be my show, but Live Nation had the contract and got, so many events with him, and they took this run. But it should sell out. Like, he's got that kind of buzz, he's got that kind of hype, and 1,900 people, it's not that many folks. I know 1,900 country fans in Dothan.
Yeah.
There's way more than that, but just because it's not who's on your playlist now, the person on your playlist now was not on there until you heard them.
That's right. Well, and I hope that people will buy more tickets to this concert that's coming up in April down at Big Creek, because that venue is really nice.
Yeah, it's the infrastructure and everything that's already there. And they're adding so much more to the property. People often just get in their head that crossing Big Creek's just gaming. I mean, they've got restaurants, they've got a brewery going in. They have this amphitheater that is begging for life to be pumped into it. But in order for that to happen, and some of these bigger name artists becomes a staple of something Dothan has to offer, we got to get out. We got to buy tickets. We got to be involved. And I'll tell everybody right now. I could go pull my ticketing numbers or contact information. I buy the first 2 tickets to every show that I announce. So I buy tickets to my shows,
right?
Because if I'm gonna tell y'all to do it, I mean, I should do it too.
Absolutely, I'm gonna be there.
I'm gonna start it off, and I'm gonna buy the first 2 tickets. So just the support of the community getting out and maybe listening, even when it isn't exactly who they wanted, but just because they want it to get to the point it is who they want, and they want to do something fun. You got plenty of nights you can sit at home. You got plenty of nights that you can, catch up on that series on Netflix or whatever it is.
Yeah.
There's music happening at the plant. There's music happening at the Civic Center. There's music happening at crossing at Big Creek or at Rain or wherever. Buy a ticket. I mean, I bought tickets to shows in Dothan that I knew I would not even be here, not even being able to go to. I ended up just giving them away, but I bought them because I wanted to make sure at least 2 tickets sold. Yeah. And I did something to help support what it is I preach about so much.
Well, hopefully somebody will see this that didn't know about the concert, the 2-day festival.
Yeah, I'll get you a graphic for it that maybe at the end, you can.
I can put it up, I'll put it up right now over us.
Even better.
Or at the end, I can put a link, whatever. And, maybe the support will increase, because that's the only way that you're going to be able to bring bigger.
That's how the growth happens.
Yeah, it has to, and everybody can sit back and it's not exactly who you want, but in order to get who you want, sometimes you have to, go support the ones that aren't who you listen to on a daily basis.
You got to create demand.
Yeah.
It's just like with beverage companies, with technology companies, with anything, if they see a category doing well, more want to get involved. You go from having 2 energy drinks in a door to having 10 energy drinks in a door because the category does well. It's like that with music. If music does well, more music gets pulled into the area and starts to happen. Here's the way I look at it. I created a Spotify. It's the Breakout at Big Creek Spotify playlist. You can hear all the artists on there, some of their better songs. Jump on there, listen to it. If you like 2 out of the 11, that's worth the $45.
It's worth it all day.
Come check it out. Support live music in Dothan, and I promise you, I'll bring even more live music to Dothan.
Yeah. And I can, I'll attest to what he's saying, because I've been going to the concerts you've been bringing since right after it started, and I enjoy it. I know there's a ton of people that do, and you're a man of your word, and hopefully, again, they'll support it, and it will just lead to bringing more and more to us here, because there's so many people that would like to not have to travel to Tallahassee or Birmingham, and I know we don't have the venues with the capacity that those places do.
I mean,
but we might one day.
And the thing is some of them it's the same capacity, but it just sells.
Yeah.
So it goes on sale and it hits 50% in the first week, and then it's at 75%, and then it just trickles, and they finish out at 80+% on average for most of their events because the support, the demand is there, and they keep getting opportunities. Yeah. People keep coming back. It's outsiders see Dothan, and I've been kind of trying to push. You can come to Dothan to see this event. A family of 4 can come, buy their food and drink, stay at hotels, spend money at restaurants, get gas, and they can all have a 2-day festival for under $1,000, lodging and everything involved. There's enough big name festivals out there that you're going to have to look at, spending $3,000 to $4,000 to go for 3 or 4 days, and buy these tickets that are $200+ just to get in. We're trying to do something that gives nobody an excuse as to why not to. Yeah, we don't have the same headliner that Stagecoach or Gulf Coast Gym or whoever does, but that's not the idea. We want to give you the opportunity to see those headliners before they're there, and get to be able to tell that story about, man, I saw 11 acts. The X amount of them ended up being headliners within the next 2 or 3 years, and I saw them all at one show.
Well, I hope people see this, and I hope they will support it, and I'd love for that to sell out.
Yeah, I'd
love for it too. I'm going to be there either way, hopefully with a camera in hand, but I'm going to be there.
Yeah, you definitely have a camera in hand, that's for sure.
I'll be there supporting it one way or the other, and any marketing stuff.
I was in Nashville for meetings with the agency the other day, and they like a bunch of them were in a room with me, and they were bragging about the lineup, and it was an agency that didn't even represent all the artists on it. They represented some of them, but they were just like, that lineup is insane. Yeah. They were like, we know you've been trying to grow this Dothan market. If that doesn't sell out, that is just crazy. They were like, the price and the talent that is involved in it. And it's got a mixture. It's got some of your red dirt, your Americana. It's got some of your more pop country or modern country, as some people call it. But there's a little bit of something in there that everybody can find. And I promise you, if you show up and you listen to multiple artists, you're gonna go, man, I'm gonna add this person to a playlist. It's just like when y'all go and you do go see your Morgan Wallen show, or you do go see your Zach Bryan or Zach Brown, or whoever it is that you go see, and then you get to see their openers. So many times people walk away and they're like, they add 6 or 7 songs from the opener to their playlist. That's how they find new music. That's how they find their next person that they're following. I got those people all performing at this event, and you're going to get 45 minutes plus of every one of them versus 20 minutes to 30 minutes or something.
I've been to concerts where the opener was better than the headliner.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
When you leave, you're like, wow.
Yeah, you walk away a bigger fan of who played before the person you bought the ticket for. It's not that you didn't like that person, but you just see that talent and you go, man, they're good. And that's that. That's what we're hoping to do. And that's why it's called Breakout. It's about artists that are about to break out and just kind of explode in the industry. And we're trying to put them all in one place, do it for a very feasible cost. People don't have to break the bank. They can spend 2 days, have a great time, see some amazing music, make some memories, and and
it's good. The artists they get to say, Dothan put me on the map.
100%. That's what we want to happen, because the agencies, as soon as they saw the lineup that we finalized and got put out there, they were calling her you should do this twice a year, and I'm like, I would love to do this twice a year.
I'd love for this one to sell out, and let's go ahead and book one for the fall or something.
Yeah, me, Frank, Ken, Will, we've sat in rooms talking about this thing, and if it could sell out, we'd already be planning one for around the October or something time frame.
That'd be perfect.
And then we'd have a shot at catching 2 different groups, because there was a lot of people. Some people wanted to be on this one, the 49 Winchesters, Treaty Oak Revival, Ella Langley, different people, that it didn't work out for this particular one. I'd love to be looking at them for another one, and maybe this time you do get more of the artists that you wanted, and then there's still others that you didn't know about that you learn to love and listen to. Yeah. But
and you get to, if you go ahead and book them now before they start getting out of the budget, while they're blowing up, before they blow up. It's just it makes it makes sense, and hopefully,
yeah.
I hope they'll do it. I hope people will come out and support this.
Yeah, me too. Another quick little thing is we've got Geneva River Festival. Trying to get the lineup for that announced next week. That's another event in this area. It's like a $12 ticket.
Yeah. Wasn't Zach Top supposed to be at that one last year?
Yeah, and then he ended up at Stagecoach. Probably offered him a little bit more money, so he went to Stagecoach. But so there's some great lineups happening around this area. That one, we're going to announce pretty soon. It's got a really good lineup. Right now I've got in Panama City the St. Andrews Mardi Gras Festival. We've got they created a music festival they wanted me to come in and work with them on, and it's got the Castellos, which are from Georgetown, Georgia, that are exploding on the scene right now. Three sisters that beautiful voices, amazing girls, just deserve everybody's success they're getting. Noah Hicks. And then there's going to be locals in front of the artist each day. Rodney Atkins, Connor Smith, or Rodney's been in the country music business, putting out charting songs since 96, 97 that are still charting. I think he had one chart in the last few years. Connor Smith is another one of those hot up-and-coming artists that's in front of him, and then a local, Gage Cowart, in front of him. Zach Miller's in front of Noah on Friday, and then Sunday's going to be all locals. But again, it's a $45 3-day ticket.
It's an opportunity to go see some up and coming acts.
Go see some amazing acts. Have fun. Bottom line is this, we've all been in situations to where cover bands, anything like music gives you a better vibe. It just gives you a chance to kind of release, reset, whatever it is. Get out, support it. I'll try and feed you more of it.
Yep. All right. Well, dude, we're almost an hour and a half in.
It's like when we talked about this, I told you, I was like, I like people to kind of tell me what their expectation is. But once you get to going, you can just bounce from topic to topic, and especially stuff like I'm passionate about. Like I want to see Dothan succeed and get to where it's a place people ask to play. Yeah. And we have that opportunity.
We absolutely
the renovations that are coming downtown, that's going to make so many improvements to things that needed to be improved to provide opportunities. The crossing at Big Creek, the amount we could do with that if we created to where we ought to be able to do shows twice a month out there, every month that the weather season allows for. Yeah. No excuse for not being able to do that with the capacity of or the population we have. The Panhandle, the way it gets out. Florida Panhandle, they show up for music.
Oh, absolutely.
Like Bonifay, Mariana, Crestview, Niceville, Panama City Beach, all those areas, they flood up to these shows in Dothan. They're how I've managed to survive doing stuff in Dothan.
Yeah. Well, and that's the Big Creek's a great venue. It's an outdoor venue, so I won't say the overhead's low, but you don't have the same expenses and the same things you do in order to run an indoor venue like the Civic Center or something like that. So, there's a ton of potential there if people will just support it. I love shooting there, just because
it's a beautiful little landscape and everything to it. Yeah,
and it's easily maneuverable. The parking's great.
Yeah,
it's it's easy to get in and out of the ticket area. There's so many, and I know there's so many ticket doors where you can go in. You don't have to stand in one or two single file lines.
There's like 3 or 4 on each side, so the flow works really well out there. Yeah. It's just outside of the city, so you're not in such a congested area, so the flow getting in and out with the 4-lane, it being 2 lanes on both sides. The law enforcement really helps with being able to help with flow.
Yeah.
Scott at them at Straight Line Parking do a great job in every event they're involved in. There's a lot of people that are really good at what they do to help put these events together. PG with Steven and Dave. I take them everywhere I go, anytime I can.
Yeah.
We just do a lot of work outside of where we live because that's where the opportunity tends to be. So I'd love to do more shows at home than anywhere else that I do business. And I'd like for it to get there.
Well, I hope everybody will support it. You can go to 423 Productions Facebook page, Big Creek's Facebook page. There's the lineup. I'll share a link or he's going to send me a graphic. I'll put it up. And then, I'd love to see it. sell out and you be able to bring another one in the fall.
I'd love to do 2 of those because I mean I'm just really excited about the opportunity it creates.
Yeah, cool. All right, well, I think that's it.
Yeah, knot's going down now,
yeah.
so I'm feeling better about that.
It still hurts to the touch a little bit.
Yeah,
I still
probably be a little sore. Might be a little blue tomorrow.
Yeah, that'd be all right. Get out in the snow and play.
But no, man, I appreciate you creating opportunities like this to kind of be a bullhorn to help put the word out.
It's my way of supporting.
Talk about many topics.
Yeah. You support local by bringing acts and giving the city something to do. I want to support you as a friend, as a local business owner. I want to support my city, my local economy, and this is hopefully just a way to give you a voice and I don't have 1 million followers. I don't have all that, but what I do have, I hope listens, and that's you got to start somewhere. So this is it.
Yeah. Last thing, if you can't buy a ticket, hit share.
It's free.
Hit share.
It's
free. I have a lot of real friends. I have a lot of friends. I have a lot of people that I know. I have a lot of people that won't hesitate to, hey man, can you do this? Hit share. It goes a long way. I do pay attention to it. Like I go look at it, and I'm like, who's sharing, who's not sharing. Like, everybody will ask me to bring somebody, and you may not be in town. It's fine.
Yeah.
But support it. Hit share it, like it, comment something.
Sometimes that's just as good as buying a ticket.
It's the marketing.
It is.
Any amount of marketing that we can get that puts it out there in front of somebody. Repetition is what leads into the actual purchases. So. Yeah, I love Dothan. I live in Dothan. I've lived in Dothan for a long time. I would not be putting the effort into it to try and do music and bring entertainment here if I didn't. Yeah. So y'all show a little love back. Buy a ticket or just hit share. Yeah. Either one works for me.
Yep. Cool. Awesome. All right. Well, I think that's it. We're about to run out of time. Y'all support it. I'll put some links up, and we'll see you on the next one.